Hi, welcome to another episode of Look Ma No Hands. My name is Linda, and on my channel I like to talk about all things yarn, other hobbies that include painting and reading and watching all things TV, streaming, movies. So yeah, this week I'm a little light on the reading content. Well, actually quite light on the reading content. I did not finish any books this week, and part of that has to do with I was not in my usual setting here in the studio. I went on a little adventure this week. As you can see, what am I wearing? I am wearing Mardi Gras beads because I went down to Louisiana to visit with my uncle and his wife Monica, my Uncle Chuck, who is just one of my favorite people ever. My mom and I went down to visit with him and check off an item on my bucket list, which was to attend Mardi Gras in New Orleans. My sister thinks I'm crazy, and maybe I am, but since my birthday falls right around Mardi Gras time, I thought what better time than now to take a little visit down to my uncle and go celebrate with him and enjoy Mardi Gras. And let me just say, the trip did not disappoint. Day one, getting down to Louisiana, we stayed with my uncle and his wife. Interestingly enough, of course, I did my research ahead of time to see if there were any local yarn shops, and there was one quite nearby. So the first thing we did after getting settled in was a little ladies' afternoon out to go yarn shopping. So the name of the shop is Bayou Yarn Shoppe. It's in Lafayette, Louisiana, and they had a wonderful selection of all of the best yarns. But of course, when I go on my trips out of town, I like to hunt down either things that are by local dyers or local artists. So I kind of zeroed in, had to kind of put the blinders on because of course everything in the shop is beautiful, all of like the Baroccos, and there was some Queensland that was really nice that I was very tempted by because they even had a pattern to go with this particular yarn that was there, but I really just wanted to focus in and stick with things that were from locally sourced things. So I did that, got 2 skeins of yarn for myself. They're beautiful. I will make sure to pop in a picture so you can see what I've been adding to the collection. Even though I say that I'm not going to be buying any yarn until I've used what I had, I couldn't resist, so I bought 2 skeins there. After shopping and promising Monica that I would help her to learn how to crochet because she found something for herself too, we returned back to the house, waited for Chuck to finish working for the day, and then decided to go to a local restaurant called the Cajun Table for dinner. And while we were there, just trying to participate in like the local flair and like get the literal flavor of the region, we had gator bites, which just trying to be a little adventurous and try things. So we had that, and it was quite good. I really enjoyed it. They were breaded and fried. I mean, you can't go wrong when you bread and fry something. Like, it's gonna taste good. Very well seasoned. So yeah, that was fun. Day 2 was our day to go to New Orleans. So we took the few hours drive to New Orleans and had an opportunity to walk the French Quarter. And that was really, like I said, the bucket list thing that I really wanted to do. I'm very passionate about like the history of the United States and just like the culture, and I like to go out and experience parts of the country that I haven't experienced before. So since I have the opportunity now with my uncle living down in Louisiana it gave me the chance to check off that little item on the bucket list. So it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed walking through the French Quarter. We stopped at Jean Lafitte's old Absinthe house. Did not get anything to drink there because it was early in our excursion through the French Quarter, so I didn't want to start getting too crazy too early in the afternoon. So it was just a matter of like popping in to say that I stepped foot in the oldest bar in New Orleans. We walked around a little more, just really enjoyed seeing like all the people. I love people watching, so seeing all the people with their costumes and just everybody being like super happy, and like it was absolutely the vibe that I expected to see there. We were there early enough in the day that there weren't a lot of like super drunk people like stumbling about, like how you think of New Orleans and like Mardi Gras, and everybody's just like a free-for-all. It was nothing like that. Definitely though, lots of people, like if that's not your vibe, then you don't want to go. But it was just fun, like all the color and like everything was just exactly what I expected it to be. We did stop and get drinks at Pat O'Brien's. Something that's interesting about the French Quarter is that like all the streets and like the front of the buildings are pretty close up to the curbside, and it was explained to me that like property taxes are like however you want to say like how they charge you for your property. Back in the day you got charged depending on like how much frontage you had, so all of the courtyards and everything are behind the buildings. So we went and had drinks at Pat O'Brien's on like the little patio in the courtyard where there's like the fountain, and it's like very picturesque. It was just kind of interesting to hear that little bit of history. We walked all through the French Quarter and saw some of the street artists and street musicians and just a lot of like cool things like that, and then made our way back to like the main downtown New Orleans area where we were staying at a hotel, and watched the parades nearby the hotel we were staying at, which made it nice to be able to like, once we were tired and done, we just went back to the rooms and, you know, called it a night. But it was a lot of fun. We spent one more day walking around New Orleans during like the daytime hours, which was again kind of nice because it gave me a chance to just kind of like take in the architecture, and like the daytime vibe was a lot more relaxed and touristy than like that party vibe of like the nighttime revelry, so to speak. We had breakfast at Cafe du Monde. Again, another bucket list item for me, because whenever I watch like Travel Channel or like all of those like shows that talk about like tourism and things like that, you always hear Cafe du Monde. So I had to go there and get some beignets and some coffee at Cafe du Monde. And again, did not disappoint. It was exactly what I expected. The cafe area was just like you see in the movies and on TV and all of that. There were musicians on the street playing music and just all the people around. We hit it at just the right time. We didn't have to wait in line, which was amazing. And a plate full of beignets with all the powdered sugar, and just, it was wonderful. Then we walked around a little bit, found an artist co-op where local artists were selling like paintings and just a lot of like really great art pieces, so that was fun. And then in that building we met up with one of the local artists that is like a fiber artist, so she had like scarves and hats and things like that, and she asked us if we had known that there was a yarn shop in the French Quarter. And I had kind of, again, did my research, knew that there was one, but I was confusing it with a different shop that, anyways, we went to the Quarter Stitch and bought more yarn, of course. Cannot go into a yarn shop without buying yarn. So my mom picked out a skein of yarn that she wants me to stitch something up for her. to wear when we are out of town next month in Las Vegas. So I'm gonna make a scarf or a shawl, something for her out of the yarn she picked. And then, of course, like I said, I try to focus in on things that are locally dyed or locally spun. So I found some yarn that was locally dyed and specific to the quarter stitch shop. So I'll probably end up making myself some kind of scarf shawlette deal. Yeah, so that was our fun little excursion into the quarter stitch. We walked along the Mississippi River and took a few pictures around there. It was quite foggy that day, but still, again, like I said, just fun to kind of like think about, like, we're standing on land that, you know, it's been iconic United States type of stuff, like all the history of like the industry that kind of was set up because of the Mississippi River and just all of that. I just really enjoy being able to walk those sites and think of, like, you know, the river boats that would go up and down the barges and all of that took goods throughout like the colonies and like the early United States. Like, I don't know, I just kind of geek out about stuff like that. So yeah, on the way out of town, we stopped at the King Cake Hub to get, yes, you guessed it, king cake. You can't go to New Orleans and Mardi Gras and Louisiana without having a king cake. So we got two, and they were both very good. We also stopped at a small sandwich shop and got muffuletta, which I had no idea what it was, but my uncle insisted that he had to have one. So if he said it was good, I was going to guess that it was good. The description of it is that it's a sandwich that has salami and prosciutto and like all kinds of like Italian style lunch meats, and then they put a relish on there that has this one particular had cauliflower, carrots, celery, peppers, and it's kind of marinated with olive oil and vinegar and just very tasty. And then provolone cheese and toasted in the oven, and it was delicious. So yeah, that was a very satisfying day. At the end of that day, we made it back to Uncle Chuck's house and just kind of relaxed for the rest of the day. After all that walking around New Orleans, we definitely needed a good rest. On day 4, we got up for breakfast and went to a restaurant called Buck and Johnny's, where they have a lot of Zydeco music and dancing and just, again, huge party vibe. The music was wonderful, watching everybody dance, because I am not going to get out there and cut a rug. But it was definitely a lot of fun seeing everybody enjoying themselves. Again, like total happy, like joyful vibe. So it was a good day. And after we had breakfast, we went and did some thrifting and antiquing, which is something that my uncle is like super passionate about. He really loves going to the thrift stores and the antique shops. So we did some of that and walked around and just I had to resist the urge to buy a teacup, because I have my little teacup collection, and I keep reminding myself that like the collection is beautiful and it has like its purpose. Like each one of the teacups that I have kind of represents something to me. So I was like, don't just go out and buy, like, I mean, I guess I could have been like, oh, it's the one that I bought when I was in Louisiana. But the thought of trying to bring it home and hope that it didn't break, I was like, yeah, let's not. So I was a good girl. I resisted that urge. That evening we went to another parade in Lafayette and just really enjoyed ourselves. Again, loved doing all the people watching and kind of learning about the culture of Louisiana and the parades and things like that. So that was fun. Sunday, so this takes us to Sunday, we had breakfast at Dwyer's Cafe in downtown Lafayette, and we walked around a little bit just to kind of see a little bit of the local flair and things like that. Again, because it was early in the day, everything was pretty quiet. There weren't a lot of people around, just a few people milling here and there. So it was nice just to have that time to enjoy the sights and kind of take things in slowly without all the pressure of the hustle and bustle. After that, we just kind of went back to the house, relaxed, enjoyed the day. The next day, we went to the Tabasco factory and took a tour of that, which was a lot of fun because Tabasco sauce is kind of like a staple in our house. Like, for as long as I can remember, we've always had Tabasco sauce. It was kind of like our foray into hot sauce when we were kids. So it was fun to kind of see where the sauce was made and just learn, again, the history of the family that is responsible for making Tabasco sauce, and like kind of like on the History Channel how they have the food that made America. This is kind of one of those. I would love to see an episode of that program kind of featuring Tabasco sauce in the program, but it was fun to kind of walk around and go through the little museum that they have that kind of talks about the history of the family and things like that. So it was fun. The surrounding property, obviously lots of like gardens and like just, I wouldn't necessarily say opulence, but just it's a pretty sprawling property and the gardens are really nice. One thing that I thought was a little bit questionable was the people that decided that they had to get out of their car as they're doing this like driving tour through the property to go see the alligators up close. Like, that kind of boggled my mind. It's like, maybe don't try to get up close and personal with a creature that can chase you down and eat you. But I mean, to each their own. I was perfectly happy with viewing the gator from a distance. I have full respect for nature and the fact that we should keep our distance. So yeah, we saw some turtles and lots of birds and things like that. So it was fun keeping my distance, staying in the car and watching all of the wildlife from the safety of the car. Our last day in town with Chuck and Monica, I spent some more time with Monica helping her to learn how to crochet, which was lots of fun. It's a skill that I like sharing with whoever is willing to take it up. So she had her doubts. She wasn't sure if she would be able to do it, but I had full confidence in her, and once she understood all of like the terminologies and things like that, she really just took off with it. And I'm hoping here in the next few days that I will hear from her about her completion of the scarf that she started while I was down there. It definitely was looking like a scarf. Like, she had her doubts, but obviously everyone's first project is going to have its little mistakes here and there, but for the most part it turned out really nice. So I'm hoping that she will take some pictures modeling it when she's finished. So yeah, that was my week this week. Like I said, I didn't have a whole lot in terms of stitching, watching, and reading, but I definitely enjoyed the week. Always have a great time spending time with my uncle and getting to visit him in his neck of the woods was a nice change of pace. Usually he comes to visit us, so this time we went down to visit with him, and like I said, I always have a great time with my uncle. So yeah, if this is your first time here, thanks for stopping by. I will definitely put a link to other episodes in a playlist of previous episodes so that you can see what I'm really all about. This isn't a typical video that I put out, but it's definitely one that was a lot of fun. So yeah, just thanks for stopping by. If you enjoy what's going on here, go ahead and hit that like button. If this is your first time here, maybe you will consider giving me a subscribe. For everyone that's been coming back time and again, as always, I love hearing from you. I appreciate the support you give. I definitely loved hearing your guys' opinions of the Olympic stuff last week. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun getting to know everybody. So thanks for visiting, and I will see you next week.